Hello everybody and welcome to this video that I'm putting out there. It's probably actually going to be two videos, and it's a developer commentary for a FTB map that we've just designed for an upcoming event. For those of you that don't know about our history, last year we went over to Boston and we hosted a tournament at a convention called Pax East, and we've been invited to go back and do the same again this year, and we've put together this map for the event. And before I put it out there for everybody to practice, I wanted to do a video so that I could kind of give you guys a few hints, a few tips about how to go about completing this map, and also a few ideas about why we've made decisions to do things like we have on the map. The map itself is designed to be completed in around about 25 to 30 minutes for fast players, and for everybody else it can be anything up to around about an hour, even up to like an hour and a half. But everybody should be able to complete this fairly easily within about an hour and a half to 2 hours as an absolute maximum. So let's take a look at the map itself. The map starts here on the little starter island. We've got a couple of logos here just for a bit of advertising, if you like. We've got the FTB logo and Pax East logo. The starter island is very simplistic. It's just got a little room where you start off from. And if we just come on the top of the hill here, we can have a quick look down at the main island, which is where we'll be going in a minute. Underneath the island we have a portal and a chest, which we'll see in a second. So just down here, there's the portal there, and there is a little chest that we'll go past as well. So we'll start off with the map itself, and the way to do that is you just enter this little room here, and there's a block here that's going to move. I'll show you now very quickly. It's going to start a timer. This, if you see in the top left hand corner, it starts a timer. So you can see the block open and then it closes again. So what we need to do is stand on the block, and it drops you into a water stream. We're going to drop into a chest. We can just pass that by. We don't need to actually stop there at all. Everything else in the chest is kind of like a red herring. You don't really need it. And what we're going to do is just go through the portal here. And it's just a nice, easy way that gives you a flavour of FTB, but not what normal maps would be like. This is normally stuff that you would be building yourself. We've just helped you along a little bit at the beginning. And here at the beginning, all you're going to really want is some gold nuggets. And we're going to take our gold nuggets. We're going to open up our minium stone by pressing C whilst hovering over on the hotbar. That will give us a crafting table. And we're just going to change these gold nuggets into iron. And all we really need here is 2 gold nuggets. Everything else is kind of like superfluous. We're going to use our gold nuggets along with our minium stone to create some iron. And then we're going to use 4 of those iron to create an ender pearl. And we'll keep the minium stone. We're never going to use it again, actually. We're never going to use anything other than the ender pearl and the ingots. The rest of it is just kind of like, you don't really need it. It's just taking up inventory space. But we'll go back through. And we'll come back through the portal. Now what I'm going to show you here is not by any means the fastest way to complete the map. I'm not trying to do that. This is just a way to complete the map, and some things that you might want to be thinking about whilst you're planning your trip through the map. So we're just going to right click with the ender pearl, which will zoom us up to the island and make us skip out of it. So now that we're here, let's just have a quick look around. We've got a pool here, and I didn't show you before, but in the instructions for the map, what you have to do is create an iron chest. I should have maybe shown you that up in the throne room, but we missed that. You have to create an iron chest and throw it in here. But once we've got that, then what do we do? Well, let's throw the iron chest in like it asks us to. So we're going to get a tree, and we're going to knock down the tree. As per the rules of the map, the only things that you can break are plants and trees. So you can knock down trees, you can dig up plants, but the rest of the blocks we ask you not to touch. We haven't done anything to prevent you. It's just as part of the competition we say just break down trees and plants. You don't need anything else. So we're just going to get the last of this tree, create a little bit of space at the same time, which we've just got there. And we're going to use our minium stone again. So again, we just press C to open that up. Use the wood to create some oak planks. We're going to create ourselves a little crafting table, which we're going to be using in a second. And we're probably actually just going to create a couple of chests here. We are going to need a few, but for now we're just going to make one. And we're just going to get an iron chest, which we put in our hotbar. Go to the pool, press Q, that will throw it into the pool. And what you're going to see here is this chest here filling up with all sorts of items. These items are actually infinite. So if I take out like a stack of iron ingots, that's going to be replaced by another stack. Again, if I take out a stack of cobblestone, that will be replaced by another stack of cobble. And this just you can take out as much as you want. There's no kind of limit to this. So it's just an infinitely, filling chest. It will keep on. So now that we're here, what do we have to do? Well, to complete the map, it's not actually very complicated. Let's look at the first one. The first one is we have a redstone energy conduit, and we need to find a way to feed 400,000 RF into that conduit. And it's actually not hard. There are a few ways of doing it, and I'm going to show you one way in this video. Let's have a look at the next objective, and that's over here, and it's an IC2 objective, and it's very similar. We've got a glass fiber cable, and we're going to try and feed 300,000 EU into that cable. That's cool. Move over to the third objective, that's over here. This one is a little bit more complicated. You have to make a tesseract. It's a fairly complex recipe. It's nothing spectacular though. And all you do is make your tesseract, place it in the chest. And then the fourth objective is over here, and it's a quarry plus. For those of you that are unfamiliar with this item, it's not exactly a hugely common item. If we just go to any iron, type in quarry, we'll see it up in the top right hand corner here. And if we just left click on that, it will bring us up the recipe. This is the easy recipe version for those of you that do know it. And it's just a quarry. You're going to want to make an assembly table. In the assembly table, we're going to want a redstone diamond chipset and some yellow pipe wire, which I'm going to show you how to make in this video. Okay, so those are the 4 objectives. So for those of you that are looking to speedrun this, what you're going to want to do now is most people's instincts are just going to be to start making one of these things. That's not really what you want to do. What you want to be doing is planning out your route and trying to think about what order you should be making these things in. And the honest answer is there's no one order. What you want to be doing is kind of almost working on all of these objectives at the same time. And what you're going to want to do is look at the ones that are going to be kind of like taking the longest to do once they're dormant. Now, what I mean by that is, for instance, with the 300,000 EU, what we're going to do is just attach some generators to this, put some coal in that generators and leave it be, and it's just going to run its course. Now, the point is you don't want to be doing that last, because you don't want to be standing around waiting for it to happen. You want to be doing that fairly early on. It's the same with the 400,000 RF. You want to be getting that done fairly early on, so you're not standing around waiting for it to put the energy in. The tesseract, on the other hand, is something that doesn't take a lot. It's just once you've made it, you've made it. The quarry plus, however, does require, if we look again at the recipe for it, this component of 160,000 energy to be gone through in the assembly table. And for those of you that haven't made this, you'll understand that a little bit later. And we're going to show you that. So what we are going to need here, before we kind of start on this, is we know we're going to need some certain resources and certain materials. And what we're going to start this video off with is we're going to build ourselves some infrastructure. And there's a good way to do that, or there's a way that I've done this. It's up to you whether you use this way. And the first thing I'm going to do is I know I'm going to need some glass. So I'm going to make myself some quarries. I'm going to need some coal to fuel that quarry. And I'm going to want some sand for which to make my glass. So I've got that down here. I'm going to put my crafting table down, and I'm going to make myself some quarries. And we're probably only going to want 2 for this, so we'll just put down 2. And we're going to put half a stack of sand in there with a little bit of coal. And half a stack of sand in there with a little bit of coal there. So we've got that on the go. What I'm also going to do actually is put down a 3rd quarry while I'm thinking about it. And I'm going to have that ready for later on, because we're going to be using that on there. Now, whilst that's going there are some other things that I know I'm going to need in the future. I know in the tesseract I'm going to need to make a pulverizer. I'm going to need to make an induction smelter. I'm also going to need to make a magma crucible, and a fluid transposer, I think it's called. Fluid, this thing here, fluid transposer, that's the one. Now all of these items have three things in common. They actually all require machine frame, they all require redstone reception coil, and they're all going to require copper gears. Now an easy way to do this is just type in @thermal in your search bar, and it's going to bring up all of the machines ready for you here, so you can actually easily click through them. And if we look at like one of these items that we need, the pulverizer, again, we're going to need some copper gear, we're going to need these redstone reception coils, and we're going to need machine frames. And then we're going to need some other bits and pieces on top of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my chest and I'm going to start pulling out some items that I know I'm going to need. I know I'm going to need a couple of flint. I know I'm going to need a couple of nether bricks. I also know I'm going to need some iron, some cobblestone, some redstone. We're actually going to need quite a bit of redstone. We're going to need glass, which we've got out there. We're going to need some copper. Not a lot, but we are going to want some copper for the method that I'm going to be using. And that's probably going to do me for right now. So if I go in and start to take out some of this glass, and I come over to my crafting table, what I'm going to do first, I'm actually going to focus, because I know that I can get this done really quickly, on the 400,000 RF. A lot of people here, there's a few different ways of doing this. The way that I've chosen to do this is one of the mods that we've included in this is extra utilities. And we've got in extra utilities these new items that have just been added called generators. And there's various different types of generators. You can use whichever one you want to use. For me, on the purpose of this, what I'm going to use is a lava generator. And I'm actually going to use a couple of heated redstone generators, which are made from the lava generators. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is make these lava generators. I'm going to want to make 2 of them. So that's 5 gold. We're going to need a couple of iron blocks, a couple of furnaces, and a couple of redstone for each one. So if we come in here, first off, let's make our gold blocks. And we're just going to want a couple of them. We're also going to want to make our redstone blocks. So we can make those 7. Now I know I'm going to need a bit more than that. I'm going to make 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to put one aside, but I've got those 10 there. I've also made this one furnace here. I'm just going to make another furnace. And we're going to use that to build our lava generators. So we want 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And redstone, redstone, and a couple of redstone. There's going to make our lava generators, which we're going to put in the middle here. I think we're going to need a couple more furnaces for this. And the furnace is there. And we've got our 10 blocks of redstone. And then finally some little redstone blocks at the bottom to give us heated redstone. So that's cool. Now what I'm going to do, there's a little issue with these redstones. That what you can do is just feed lava directly into them, but I found what it seems to be a little bit of a better way is if at this stage I just make a couple of tanks and I just go back into my chest and I just want some tin. I just want 1 piece of tin for right now. I think I grabbed a bit more than that, but okay. And I'm going to want to make myself a crescent hammer. So a crescent hammer will just allow me to manipulate these portable tanks. I'm going to take this heated redstone generator. I'm just going to take that over here. And I'm going to plonk it on the top of this conduit here. I'm then going to take our portable tank. I'm going to drop that on the top there. I'm going to hit that with the hammer just to make sure that it outputs from there. We're then going to get some redstone. We'll just get a stack of redstone there. And I'm going to want a bit of lava as well. So into our generator, I'm just going to open the generator, put in our redstone, and into the tank there, I'm just going to start right clicking with the lava cells. And you can see that starts to fill up now. And that's now full. And this is now pumping power into there. And that's our objective basically done. I can not worry about that for now. I've sorted it. Okay, so the second objective. The second objective I'm going to work on for this video is going to be this one over here, the 300,000 EU. I'm going to start to think about doing that now. Now, IC2, for those of you who haven't played around with it in a while, has changed a little bit lately. So let's have a look at what's actually going on there. So the thing that we're going to want to make here, for my personal choice, I'm just going to make some generators. And there's our generators there. And they're made using an RE battery, some iron furnace, and some iron plates. And let's have a look at these a bit more. So these iron plates are new. We need to make a forge hammer, combine it with some iron to make our iron plates. And also, if we go back to the generator, we're going to need to make RE batteries. So that's going to need some tin cable. It's going to need to have some tin item casings and some redstone as well. Okay, so that's fairly simple. And then we're going to need iron furnaces which have more of these plates. So we're going to need a lot of plates. We're also going to need some cables to attach to these furnaces too. So for me, I think a fairly easy way of doing this is just some copper or tin cable. I'm just going to come to my chest. I've got some tin here. I've actually got a bit of copper there, but we're going to just top that up because I'm going to need that in a bit. And I am going to need to make a stick to start off with, which we're going to put in here. And what we're trying to make is our hammer here. So we're going to get iron and we're just going to put it in the crafting table like this, and it gives us a forge hammer. We're going to take our iron here, we use the forge hammer, and we're going to just combine those to make some iron plates. So we've got more than we need, but there's no sort of efficiency here. There's no prizes for not spending resources, so just go mad. We're going to do the same with tin. We're just going to combine them, and we're going to do that. And once we've done that, we can come up and we can use 2 iron here, and we'll get 3 iron plates like that. And that's going to give us some cutters. You can find these in NEI. And we're going to do that, put the cutters down, we're going to combine them with tin plates. And I'm just going to want 6 cables. That's going to be plenty for me. Now I know I'm going to need some cables in a minute for those batteries. So we're just going to get some rubber out. That's a bit too much. There you go. And we'll come into our system. We'll put our rubber down. And we'll put our cable down. 1, 2, 3. So there we go. We've got 3 cables there, which we're going to need in a minute. I'm going to get this forge hammer. I'm going to get my iron. And we know we need 12 of these, if you did the match before. And I've just looked that. That's purely coincidence that I've just used up that hammer there. So we're just going to get some redstone. We're going to drag these across here. We'll put these cables in there. And if I've done the wrong one, I think I probably have. I think they were meant to be tin, which means I'm going to have to make another hammer. So let's make another hammer. And we'll do it with tin instead. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. And we'll try that again. And we'll get our tin up there, and that gives us 3 batteries. So that's cool. Now we're also going to need 3 furnaces. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to get our iron, which we're going to put like this. That's going to give us iron furnaces. Iron furnace in the bottom. We're going to need iron plates across the middle there. And we're going to need RE batteries at the top. And we can click those out. Just shift left click to bring them all down to your inventory. And that's got us 3 generators. We're going to want our tin cable. Let's just go into our chest. And we can go 1, 2, 3. We'll get our tin cable. Put that down there. Like that. I'm going to put my generators down. 1, 2, 3. We'll open up our generators, put some coal in there, some coal in there, some coal in there. And that's that objective basically complete. Now you'll notice that this light is on. This objective is actually finished. We've done that objective already. So I'm going to just take off that tank there. And whilst I'm at it, I'm just going to make a couple of pickaxes. So we'll do that. I'll make an iron pickaxe, which we will use to get our generator off. There we go. I'm going to just want to put this generator down here. And we had a second generator which we'll put there. We'll get our tank, put that on the top. We'll get our second tank, we'll put that on the top there. We'll fill that up with lava. Open that up into there. Carry on filling that up. And we're just going to get some redstone. And we're going to pump that in there. And we're going to pump that in there. Okay, so these are now basically, that's our power generation for the map complete. We don't need to worry about this anymore. This is irritating me, this tree. I'm going to get it out of my way. So we've already got 2 objectives down and we're 20 minutes into this. So we're doing all right here. You know. What we need to focus on now is the 3rd objective. Now the 3rd objective that I want to do is the Quarry Plus. So let's have a look at the Quarry Plus. The Quarry Plus, as we remember, if we remember rightly, is going to require, and we'll put it up in NEI just to help you see it. It's going to require quarry. It's going to require some yellow pipe wire, which is some dye, some redstone, and an iron ingot, and then redstone diamond chipset, which is a diamond and redstone. But these have to be made in the assembly table. Assembly table is from Buildcraft. So if we have a look at that, that's fairly simple. And it's just obsidian, some diamond gears, diamond and redstone, and we're going to want lasers. And for the purposes of this, just for speed, we're going to want a load of lasers. And there's no, like, you know, we'll just knock out 14 lasers or something like that. So we'll do that. And we're also going to want some conduit, because we're going to power the lasers off the conduit, which we're going to be using in a minute for the tesseract. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, before we go on to this, is start to make up that infrastructure I was talking about earlier for thermal expansion. So let's come to our table and start to think about what we're going to need. We've got a lot of the resources here anyway. Now, we do have some excess resources that we're just not going to use. So I'm just going to put a chest down here. And just to keep my inventory a little bit clear, we're going to do that. I just want to get some diamonds here. And we can make a diamond pickaxe, which I know I'm going to need later. And we'll just put them in there as well. And now we're just going to focus on this little bit of resource. So the first thing I'm going to want is to make a pulverizer and some conduit. So let's have a look at the pulverizer. And the pulverizer, like we said before, it has all of these things. So we're going to pre-make these. Now, I've got copper, I've got iron, and all the bits and pieces that we need for this. So let's just grab that. And while we're at it, we're going to grab the rest of this glass as well. So we'll open this up, and the first thing we're going to need to make is these machine frames. And we want this bottom recipe here with the iron, and we just want 4 of those. Open up our pulverizer again. We're going to want the redstone reception coil. Let's just get rid of the old stuff, and we're going to want 4 of them. And again, the copper gears. And we're going to want 8 of those. Remember, there's 2 for each machine. Okay, so that's that done. I also know I'm going to need some buckets, probably 2. I also happen to know that I'm going to need to make some more wood, because we're going to want a piston. And at this point, we've got all of everything we need to make that. So if we just do that, we can make our pulverizer. And we also need to make that conduit. Now, I'm going to want to make eventually quite a bit of conduit. So I'm just going to get some lead out. And we've probably got enough there for everything that we're going to need. So we're just going to open this up, and we're going to make maybe 18 of them. That's probably going to be enough for my purposes. So we've done that. We'll shut this down. I'm going to just get this. I'm going to drop it down here. And I actually don't need all of that. Let's just do that. And then we'll put our pulverizer down here. And we'll open up our configuration just to make sure there's no mistakes. We'll reset it all. And I know that I'm going to do something here that's a big help for you. This is a big tip. If you want to play this map, if you want to be good at this, this is something you want to be thinking about. So I'm going to set this to be input on the top. I'm going to change this just so it's at that way there. So the front is here. Go back into the configuration. And I'm going to output to the side like that. I'm going to come in, I'm going to make another chest. Let's do that. We had wood there anyway, but okay. And we're going to put this down there. And then actually going to want to make 2 more chests thinking about this. So there's our 2 other chests. We're going to put 1 more in. And I'm going to make a hopper. This is just going to make my life a little bit easier. So we'll put our hopper on the top there. On top of that, I'm going to put a chest. And then I'm going to be thinking about what I'm going to need later on. So for a tesseract, let's have a look at the tesseract. Because we need some dust and stuff. So here, tesseract is quite a complex recipe now. The hardened glass is going to require us to have some obsidian dust and some lead. We're also going to need enderium ingots. Enderium ingots are quite complex. To get them, you need to come over to the induction smelter recipe, and we're going to need pyrotheum dust and enderium blend. So first off, let's look at the enderium blend. For this, we're going to need resonant ender bucket. So we're going to need a magma crucible and a fluid transposer to make that. We're also going to need pulverized tin ×3 and some shiny map. So we're going to need dusts here. Again, for the actual tesseract itself, in the corner, we're going to need some bronze. Okay, and the recipe for this involves Tinker's Alloy Blend, which is pulverized copper and some tin. So we've got to be thinking about this. At some point in the future, we're going to need dusts, and a lot of them. So I'm going to want to make these dusts now. And then whilst they're processing, I can be working on other things. So let's start to think about what we're actually going to need. Now, I know I'm going to need a bit of ferrous, not a lot, but a little bit. I know I'm going to need some iron, which I've got. I've got some iron here. I know I'm going to need some obsidian. Lead we don't need to convert, but that's okay. We're going to need lead for that as well. We're going to need a piece of coal. We're going to need a piece of sulfur after, so we'll get that. We've got some redstone. And then the last thing I'm going to need is, we've got a blaze rod here, because we need some blaze powder. I'm going to need some shiny. And I've got some tin. And I've got some copper. So I've got pretty much everything I need there. So I'm now going to go to my chest. I'm going to start to put in the things I need. Now, the first thing I'm going to be wanting is Invar. So let's get Invar on the go. So that is some ferrous, some iron. I'm going to need to make that hardened glass, which is going to require obsidian. I'm going to need to make that pyrotheum dust. That's going to require 1 piece of coal. To make some coal dust, I'm also going to need to make the blaze rod there. I need to then think about putting some shiny in here and some copper in there and a little bit of tin in there. Now, these are not exact. Like I said, if you want to do exact, that's great. I personally am just throwing a bit in there. I know what I'm going to need later on, so I'm starting to work on that. So that's there. By the time I've done this, I now know I've got some pulverized ferrous and some pulverized iron in here. So let's just wait for that to come out. And I can start to think about getting Invar now. So we can do this, this, and this, and that's going to give us Invar blend. Come over to one of our furnaces, put half in there, and half in there. Great. Put the excess dust back in the chest so we know where it is. And this is going to carry on. We could actually probably make a bit more there. So we've got 4 more ferrous. We probably won't need this. We're probably overgoing. But there you go. It doesn't hurt us to have it there in case we want it later. So now that I've got that, I'm going to take 2 Invar ingots out of here. And start to think about making some upgraded versions of our cable here. So if we go to harden, and we're going to click on our hardened energy conduit, and we're going to click on this, and we're going to make some of them. So we've got some hardened energy conduits now. I'm going to replace these because I want to be able to feed more power through them with these, and we'll just double that up there, and that there. We'll whack that there. So that's cool. Now then, we've got plenty more Invar coming through here. We add a little bit more leadstone energy cells. We don't need all of this. So we'll just make some more Invar. Do we not have enough? There we go. Yeah, this is way overkill for what we're going to need. Way overkill. So let's just get rid of that. We don't need any more of that Invar for now. Actually, we're going to need 2 more. So let's go back to at thermal expansion and have a look at the machines that we're going to be wanting to make now then. So we've already made our pulverizer, and now I'm also going to want to make an induction smelter. And we've got most of the pieces for that now already. We've made them before. We're also going to want to make this magma crucible, which is going to require us to make a leadstone energy cell. And we've already got the pieces of that. Remember, we made this extra block of redstone before, specifically for this purpose. We can go back into the magma crucible, and we've got everything here to make that item. We can go into our fluid transposer, and we should have everything to make that item as well. We've prepared for this earlier. This is the key to this, is making sure you're prepared for all of this type of stuff. So if we put down our induction smelter, make sure that it doesn't go wrong by opening, shift clicking on the middle again, and that will open that up. We're going to want to put our magma crucible down and then our fluid transposer. We need to make sure that on our magma crucible we're outputting here to the right, and on the fluid transposer we're inputting here from the left. So blue is your input, orange is your output, so anything we put in there is going to go in there. And let's do that right now. Let's get ourselves a stack of ender pearls because we're going to need that, and we're going to put that into the magma crucible. And that's going to get itself ready to go into here. And we're also going to know we're going to need to put a bucket in there. So let's get that bucket ready. And we'll put that in there. And that's ready for it to do its thing. It's actually already done it, so we can just leave that in there for now. What I'm going to be focusing on now, like I said, is these lasers and the assembly table. I want to be getting that on the go. So I'm just going to grab myself some bits and pieces here. I'm going to want some diamonds. I've got some obsidian there, a bit of redstone there. I already have this flour which I'm going to need, and that's probably going to cover me for right now. So if I look up laser, and we'll start to think about this quarry plus that we wanted to do before. So I've got the laser here. I can just shift click on the question mark again. That'll bring me the laser up, and I'm going to make 14 of these. I'm going to go quite mad. I've got those, and then I'm going to make the assembly table. Let's put that up, and I know here we've got a bit of a stumbling block. I've got some a diamond gear. Now I also know for the quarry plus, if we look at the quarry plus, it's using a quarry. So on the quarry, we're also going to need more gears. We're going to need 2 more diamond gears. We're going to need a couple of gold gears and some iron gears as well. So we're going to want 8 gears in all. So let's start to think about those gears. We'll get out our couple of wood there. Great. I'm only going to want to convert maybe 4 of these over. And we'll change them. And now we've got enough to make ourselves 8 gears. There you go. Sweet. We can put all those into wood. And we'll change all of those into stone. Put the stone back up. We're going to change all of those into iron. Great. Now we want half of the, no, yeah, 3 of those kept as iron. The rest of them are going to go into gold. And of them, we're going to want 3 of them being made into diamond gears. Awesome. And if you remember earlier, did we make it? Did I make a diamond pickaxe? I think I may have done. There you go. And we can start to get our quarry together now that we've got all the ingredients for that. I think it's a diamond down there. Something like that. Like that. Like that. And that gives us our quarry. And at the same time, we weren't here to make the quarry, but we just did it because we were there. So the assembly table. We've now got all the ingredients to make that. And I'm also going to want to make a chest. So I've got my chest there. I'm going to come around the back here. We're just going to drop down our assembly table there. We've got our lasers. And we're just going to drop our lasers on the back of this. Doesn't make a difference if we make a mistake here. It really doesn't affect it in any way. So there you go. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And we're going to put our chest down there. And then we're going to start to think about the things that we actually need. So I know what we're going to need roughly is if we come over here, we'll go to our assembly table. I'm going to drop in that dandelion. I'm going to drop in some redstone, drop in some iron, and we're going to want yellow pipe wire. And then I'm going to drop in diamond and redstone, and we're going to make our redstone diamond chipset. And that's going to take a bit of time. So whilst we're letting that go, we can come back and start to carry on with the process that we were doing before. Remember how we had this pulverized obsidian? And we've got a bit of lead here, so we can go into our induction smelter. Put the obsidian in there, we'll put a bit of lead in there. That's going to make our hardened glass that we're going to be needing in just a second. Also, if you remember, we had our fluid transposer with a resonant ender bucket, and we've got a bit of tin dust, and we've got some shiny dust here. 1, 2, 3. Sweet. I'm going to come over to a table. Shiny dust, some tin. Resonant ender bucket is going to give us some enderium blend. We're going to come back over to here, and we've got our hardened glass. Now if you remember also, we got a piece of coal dust there and a piece of blaze powder. Let's go to our crafting table. Coal dust, blaze powder. We're going to want a piece of redstone in there, and the 4th item is a piece of sulfur that's going to give us pyrotheum dust. Come to our induction smelter, put the pyrotheum dust in there, and next to that we're going to put our enderium blend in. That's going to make us 4 enderium ingots. That's awesome. So we're now thinking about making the tesseract. Whilst we do that, we can just come out of there for a second. If we come around the corner here, this is turned off. So we've got our redstone chipset, the yellow pipe wire. If we put both of those back into the assembly table along with a quarry, that's going to let us make our quarry plus. So that's now being powered. Because this is going to take a little bit of time to work. So we're just going to let that go in the background there. Alright, cool. I've now got my enderium ingot. That's fantastic. And I've already got my fluid transposer ready with some resonant ender. So I'm now going to come over here and we're going to start to think about this tesseract frame. So we've got all the pieces that we need. We've got the diamond, we've got the hardened glass, we've got the enderium. We can pull that out of there. That's brilliant. I can then take that over, and as we said, we've got the fluid transposer already ready. This is great. That's going to take a little bit of time. In the meantime, we're going to need this bronze, which we need to make. So let's just come to our chest and get ourselves some copper, piece of tin, and we'll make 3 copper and a piece of tin. That's going to make that. Put half of that in there, Half that in there. And by this time, our tesseract frame is done. We're just going to wait for these to finish off. Almost ready. 2, we'll get those out of there, and we'll get those out of there. Open up our crafting table, and we're going to open up our tesseract, the complete one there. We need a bit of silver. That's the last 4 things we need. So here we go. Silver's over here. Open up our crafting table, and we'll make that last item, which we can put in there. If we're lucky, as we come around here, this should be almost complete. It's not quite there yet. So we can open up this chest, put a tesseract in there. That's the 3rd item. There's the 3rd light. This one has already finished a while ago. This one has already finished a bit ago. We're just finally waiting now for... And this is what I was saying about before. You know, I'm standing around waiting on this to pump out. It's almost finished now, though. We timed this pretty well for a demo run. Not perfect, you know. We're a little bit out of it. And we're going to be completing this map on the demo run at about 40 minutes, something like that. Which is kind of not a bad time. Now, like I said, you should be looking to get this map completed in around about 25 to 30 minutes in a competition environment. But I'm not saying that my route is the best route. I'm hoping that you guys can come up with much better routes, and the times will be recorded. We'll be keeping an eye on them. There you go. There's our last one out. The quarry bus is through, and let's just see if we can stop the clock at 40 minutes. So we'll just put that in there, and there you go. And 40 minutes. And yeah, 40 minutes. Not bad. Pretty good. Hopefully this run through has given you some ideas. You've seen ways to improve what I've done, or you've picked up some ideas to improve your own times, something like that. For those of you that are coming to PAX, come and say hello. We're going to be there with all sorts of people. I know I'm going to be there. I am, as one of our map creators, is going to be there. I'm hoping to be joined by Direwolf, Targ, some of the Minecraft guys have said they would like to show up if they can, and a few other people as well. We're going to have a few prizes which will be given away at the same time. Some t-shirts, that type of thing. So yeah, if you're there, come and say hello. If not, give the map a try anyway. See what you think. And hopefully soon we'll be able to get a few more maps out that are a bit more complexity and a bit more length to them. But in the meantime, I think that's everything I can do for today. So thanks very much. Ta-ra!